Ontario, that's what I want to talk to you about today. I mean, so many of you have been asking so many questions about Ontario, as in human capital priorities draw, skilled trade draw, and very recently, what happened was, and it became the news on the social media accounts, was that on Twitter and on some other platforms, people shared that Ontario's skilled trade stream has been suspended. I'm sure most of you have already heard about that, and if you have, then just drop a comment and let me see if you can if you haven't if you have seen this. So what happened is, on the Ontario's application portal, there is a top screen, and you can basically lists down which streams you can now make an application after you have been invited. And on the Ontario's representative portal also, it started showing up that if you have applied under the if you applied under the Ontario's skilled trade stream, then that stream has been suspended and the applications will not be accepted anymore. Now, obviously, that created a lot of flutter, that created a lot of Instagram reels, TikTok videos, posts, etc., saying that Ontario has now cancelled or stopped the skilled trade stream. Very soon after that, what happened was that line on that portal was removed by Ontario, and therefore does not exist anymore. And therefore, then the new rumors started that Ontario obviously is preparing for something, is going to do something different, and something is up. So what that did is it got a lot of people thinking, people like me who like getting into the bottom of things as to what exactly is going on. So there is a document which Ontario has been referring to throughout 2025 in reference to how it will apply its nominee program. Now, obviously, for this year, their nominations were reduced. I'm sure all of you know that their nominations were reduced right down to 10,000, some odd number, and therefore they had to now tread carefully. They obviously also had lots of inventory from last year, and they had to also process that. But that has already been put on a bit of a back burner, as most of you already know. They now have more authority that they can apply on different applications in terms of cancellations, canceling the streams, canceling the ongoing applications, and that also has created a lot of doubts, concerns, etc., etc. Now, most recently, I mean, this is not a recent report. This is a very old report. Actually, this is 1 year old. But whenever things like this happen, it prompts us to go back to the roots as to where the data might be, what is prompting Ontario to do what it is doing, what has prompted Ontario to change the portal, what has prompted Ontario or OINP to start slapping penalties on individuals, on employers, on consultants, on lawyer, as to whenever they misrepresent, whenever they are acting in a manner that they shouldn't be acting. So all of this has to come from somewhere, right? And that one somewhere is basically what we refer to as, is a document. Oh boy. That's what happens, right? When you're trying to rush through with something which you haven't really prepared to do. So let me see if I can pull that up very quickly. Hopefully I should be able to. Man, it's taking time to load up. My internet, as you guys all know, I'm struggling with that. So this is the Auditor General's report. Now, Auditor General report is prepared on an annual basis. It is being prepared for the last, I think, a couple of years. And in this particular report, since Ontario has the lion's share of nominations, therefore, it was understood that they needed to take some more effort. They needed to take some more steps to make this process more efficient. And therefore, they had, I've got it. No, this is not the one. Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. This is the report that they finally prepared. This is the Auditor General's report. Now, obviously, this is a very long report. Now, you don't need to worry about where you can find this report. It is in the description box. You can find it over there. So please don't stress about it. You will be able to see the link for this report. Now, obviously, as you can see, this is a very comprehensive, detailed report. They looked at lots of things. Now, this document, what you are seeing, is part of a much larger Auditor General report from the auditor's website. We have just taken the Ontario because we are only interested in the OINP. We're not interested in lots of other things that happen. Now, a lot of things were included. Now, if I go to the first page, now this is not the most, you can't really read it carefully, but it says that the reason why they did it because they wanted to make the whole process very efficient. But I am not going to waste your time with this report. Obviously, if you want to read the report, and that is what you should always do, you can take a look at it at your own free time. It will make for a good bedtime reading. But the point here is not about whether you want to read it or not. This is an old report. I mean, this hasn't been issued yesterday or day before yesterday or last week. This was issued in January of 2025. So this is 2024's report issued in January 2025. Nothing new here. But when this new latest rumor about Ontario cancelling its skilled trade skilled trade stream came up, obviously we were looking for answers as to what exactly is Ontario doing, and this is where we got onto. And surprisingly or unsurprisingly, this is what I can show you in a very brief manner, very quickly. So what I've done is I've prepared a very quick 10-slide presentation, which just gives you an overview of this entire report. And then I will talk to you very quickly about the skill trade as well, right? So this is the Performance Audit Ontario's Immigrant Nominee Program report. Key findings and conclusions. So in this report, they found out that the program growth, Ontario receives 45% of all new Canadian immigrants who are coming into Canada. And of this, the numbers are pretty staggering. 21% of the people who actually come to Ontario, of all the people who come to Ontario, 21% of those are from nominations. Okay, so if, for example, in Ontario, 100 people came, 21 people are from the nominations. Rest, 79 are from the express entries or other pathways. If I keep going further, the rise of non-job offer nomination. Now, this is where people who are interested in human capital priorities, they should be wary. This is where it talks about, is that they started also looking at the difference between the nominations who had the job offers and the nominations who did not have the job offers. So everybody who was applying under the master's graduate stream, PhD streams, the human capital priority stream, those numbers came onto this one. And it says that 72% of the nominees that were selected from 2019 to 2023 did not require a job offer. Means that was a huge number out of the total nominations. They also saw in 2022 to 2023 an increase in masters and PhD by 227%. Again, a huge one. And in the nominations for masters and PhD in comparison to the job offer stream, that increase in numbers was by 471%. That I'm sure you will all agree is exorbitant. Now, they also said there is a big mismatch. There's a mismatch between nominations and high vacancy occupation. So basically, nominations were being given out, but they were not necessarily going to the high occupancy occupations. So the healthcare, the trades, the early childhood educators were not getting as many nominations as they should be getting, versus majority of them going to people who didn't have job offers, or they were going to technology and they were going to masters, PhD, etc. And obviously, there was also a disproportionate numbers that were not they were favoring the GTA. Means more people who were getting the nominations were in the GTA, less number of people outside GTA. And as you can see, the Northern Ontario is only 3%. And therefore, it became a huge issue. And again, they also identified that there is a weakness in the entire application verification process. They saw that there were a lot of suspicious patterns, the T4s, the payrolls were being run, documentation had gaps, which is also a concern, and that Ontario was not really using the tools that has been given to them to enforce all these people who were cutting the corners and not properly making the applications. And there were significant deficiencies in follow-up, and that's all I have for this particular document. But what's more important is, and what I really want to show you is, again, coming back to this particular document, but this is not a good document. Let me show you something else instead so that we can make the screen much larger and you will be able to see that instead. Now, obviously, most of you are interested in what the whole hullabaloo is about today, right? And that's what you want to really see. So let's take a look, make the screen a bit bigger. Yeah, I can do that. Remove my bookmarks. Okay, so recommendation number 3. Out of this Auditor General's report, there were some recommendations made. And recommendation number 3, of course, there are about 21 different recommendations, and these were all pretty much accepted. So recommendation number 3 said, we recommend that Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training, Skills Department, that's Ontario OINP, review and assess relevant data to establish the proportion of nominees that should come from job offer and non-job offer streams to best meet the province's labor market needs, and monitor whether nominees without job offers who are being admitted to Ontario are eventually employed and not collecting social assistance, right? Pretty interesting. And then I will jump straight to number 10. Recommendation number 10 says, we recommend that OINP applies program changes that require applicants in express entry skilled trade stream to have a job offer in an approved employment position from an Ontario employer at the time of application to qualify for this stream. Okay. Be employed in the approved position at the time they are nominated, if they are already working for the employer, or within the set period of time after they are nominated. Remain employed in the approved position and periodically report back to the ministry at least until they have obtained permanent residency. This is, guys, this is huge. And the reason why this is huge is because the entire basis of the skilled trade stream that you have in Ontario is that you don't need a job offer. That all you need to do is have 1 year of work experience in a trade occupation in Ontario within the last 2 years, and if your score is within that specific range, then you get invited. You only need to be in Ontario and on a work permit at the time you make an application. After that, where you are, what you're doing, where you're working, not working, that doesn't matter. Now this this what I've shown you on your screen, and I'm going to take you to a page number 73. Let's see if we can go to this recommendation that I'm just talking to you about. And here it says ministry's response. The ministry accepts the recommendation to update the skilled trade stream to ensure that the nominees under this stream have suitable skills and they would be qualified to likely take up the jobs. And this is being accepted by Ontario, by OINP, and the ministry has accepted it. So all these latest rumors that you are seeing about the skilled trade stream having been suspended, probably being cancelled, blah, 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 blah. Well, there is a possibility. Now, I'm not saying it is happening. I'm just telling you where to look for information whenever you see these kind of things. So what I'm suggesting here is that there is a possibility. Please mark my words. Don't come shooting at me afterwards, right? All I'm trying to do is show you where the water is so the horse can go and drink that water. The possibility is that one of the big reasons why Ontario is not processing all the applications from March, April of last year, which was largely the skilled trade categories, and again later as well. And also the most recent news that you have heard about them suspending the skilled trade stream has to do with this recommendation number 10, which of course you will be able to find on the Auditor General's report for OINP. And it says very, very clearly that they are looking to, I think you can't really see my screen right now, which is not very big, right? So just try to make it bigger. Yeah, okay, this should work well. No, it doesn't show you the whole screen now. Okay, this should do. Okay, we recommend that everybody who has a skilled trade stream, that they should now have a job offer, and that this job offer, and that they should be employed. They continue to be employed throughout the nomination process, and that they continue to remain employed in that skilled trade until they became PR. So there obviously then will not be any difference between skilled trade stream and the employer job offer stream or the international student stream. Therefore, if you have realized in this year, they have only conducted draws which are employer driven. All of that inspiration that OINP has been getting is because they have accepted the recommendations over here. Now, if I just go here to page 68, which is, where is the recommendation number 3? Also very, very important. And this will largely depend on people who are depending on human capital priority stream as well as the master's graduate stream. Again, please take a read. It says, and ministry has accepted this recommendation again. You see, ministry has accepted this recommendation. And it says, we recommend that the ministry reviews, assesses relevant data to establish the proportion of nominees that should come from the job offer and non-job offer streams to best meet the province's labor market needs, and whether nominees without job offers who are admitted to Ontario are eventually employed or not. Now, this is also referring to master's graduate stream as well as the OINP. It says, ministry accepts this recommendation. In addition to selecting individuals with qualifying job offers, Ontario aims to select individuals based on human capital factors that are associated with the long-term economic success. There you go. That's the news. That's the whole update, that Ontario is looking to make a lot of changes with regards to taking this Auditor General's report, because there are all these recommendations. I think there are a total of, I'm sorry, I'm just scrolling very quickly. And it also has all the occupations which are considered as priorities. The report has all the numbers. It's a huge, big report. It's a big, beautiful report. Okay, so yeah, take a look at it. And I'm sorry, I'm just trying to scroll up to see total of 18 recommendations have been accepted by the ministry. And out of these total 18 recommendations, a lot of it has to do with the way Ontario is applying its PNP program. A lot of it has to do as to how it will move forward. So the new employer portal that you have seen, that is also because of how it was recommended by the Auditor General's report. And as they move forward, there is going to be a serious situation where they will seriously possibly consider what they're going to do with the applications for 2024, specifically with the skilled trade stream. Now, what has happened is that there were a lot of fraud, lot of people who misrepresented, a lot of people who ran fake payrolls, provided fake documents, they didn't have the job. You know it, I'm sure. I mean, come on, don't fool yourself. You know it very well. Some of you probably, I mean, you know somebody who within your vicinity has done it. So Ontario obviously identified. They are looking to clamp down on it. And because out of last year itself, they have found so many people who have committed this fraud. And now only the reports are coming out of how many consultants. I think there was one lawyer. Then there are employers, there are individual applicants themselves who have now been penalized in hundreds and thousands of dollars. I mean, depending on the total, whatever the total penalty was. So yes, there is a very realistic possibility that they may look to refuse or return some, not all, some of the applications from 2024. And as we move forward, looking for employment opportunities is a good idea. Now, I also have a feeling that master's graduate stream, as it goes forward, as we move forward, will be changed so that there is a requirement of a job offer even with a master's graduate stream. I have a feeling, again, it's a feeling, and it is all based on, as I said, this particular report, which is now laying a lot of emphasis that whatever nominations they're bringing in and whatever people they're bringing in through the nominee program, they should have a very strong connection to either the labor market priorities or to the employment market. So that's basically what you should be looking at and how you should be preparing and planning on this one. I think I have already answered your question on this one. And that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to share with you. And because I came to know of this report, I mean, of course, we've been reading this report many times, but ever since that rumor that started early, I think started late last night, From there on, obviously, got us all thinking, where is it coming from? And that's where it is coming from. They did take it. They did talk specifically about the skilled trade stream. So Ontario, somebody in Ontario's office may have, in a haste, just updated the portal very quickly, saying that they are suspending. What they would have actually wanted to do was first update the programs page, and then once that was updated, then go out and suspend the program. But apparently they just did it a bit too sooner. Sahil says, just taking this one question, Sahil says, West verified masters from India, age 30, 2 years, 2 years diploma, 6 months manager. How to proceed? I'm sorry, Sahil. During these calls, I cannot really tell you how you can proceed with immigration. Take a look at your express entry scores, take a look at PNP programs, see where you can find an employer, and apply through the employer job offer streams wherever you might be eligible. But on this platform, on this medium, this kind of a question, unfortunately, I can't really go into the depth of what your background is, what your skills are, and then guide you. So I'm sorry about that. As far as everything else is concerned, you guys already know. Stay tuned as we keep moving on with more updates. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I shall see you next time. Until then, stay forever hopeful.